Various measures are being taken by countries to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Israel has announced that all travellers entering the country will be required to quarantine themselves for 2 weeks. Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu said the measure was essential to safeguard public health. In Britain, a fifth death from the virus has been confirmed. The total number of cases now exceeds 300. Earlier, Prime Minister Boris Johnson held emergency talks with senior officials. But major sporting fixtures in the UK have not yet been cancelled. In the US, it's emerged that 2 Republican congressmen who have self-quarantined recently had close contact with President Trump. Doug Collins and Matt Gaetz decided to self-isolate after being exposed to someone diagnosed with the virus. Mr. Gaetz then travelled with the president on Air Force One on Monday. Italy is extending its coronavirus quarantine measures, including a ban on public gatherings, to the entire country.
The World Health Organization praises China for its response to the virus, but inside the country there's anger at the way the crisis has been handled. Well, it's time now to take a look at some of the front pages from around the world. And we start with the Japan Times, which reports that the country is tightening its border controls. It says all of those arriving from China and South Korea will be asked to self-quarantine for 2 weeks, but that may prove tricky to enforce. Now, like many papers in the region, the Straits Times is leading on the crash of global stock markets as fears of a global recession grow. It reports that the trigger was a standoff over oil between 2 of the world's superpowers, Saudi Arabia and Russia. And finally, you've got the Times, which leads with the same story of the market's rout, noting that for many of them, Monday was the worst day since the 2008 financial crisis. It has been dubbed Black Monday. And that brings...
Ireland has cancelled all St Patrick's Day parades in an attempt to slow the spread of the virus. The Irish Prime Minister, Leo Varadkar, announced the cancellation of the annual March 17th parade in Dublin, and he has warned the country that more hard choices are coming.
We're facing a global and national public health emergency. There's a lot about this virus that we don't yet know, but it is possible that we're facing events that are unprecedented in modern times. The virus can't be stopped, but it can be slowed, and the impact on it can be reduced. We have no treatment, no vaccine, and no immunity. So this is as much going to be a societal response to slow the spread of the virus as it is going to be a medical response.
Qantas says it will cut its international capacity by nearly 25% over the next 6 months as part of sweeping changes in response to the Covid-19 outbreak. The Australian Airlines chief executive and chairman will take no salary for the rest of the financial year. The management team will receive no bonuses, and all staff are being encouraged to take paid or unpaid leave. The airline will also ground the equivalent of 38 planes. That's more than double the 18 it had announced last month.
We're going to have a look at some of the papers for you this morning, many of them leading on the warning that anyone with a cold could soon be asked to stay at home for a week to help try and slow the spread of coronavirus. That came out of the briefing yesterday. Daily Mail reports that the advice will be issued by health officials within a fortnight.
Wow. The Times claims hundreds of billions of pounds of wealth vanished in a few hours yesterday as the odds on a global recession dramatically shortened.
This is what the Daily Mirror went for. Meltdown. They're describing the stock market crash, saying millions of British workers have seen their pensions hit by the recent plunge.
And online, Vice are reporting that Chinese citizens who are angry at their government's handling of the coronavirus are communicating using coded words and phrases to express their dissatisfaction. That's according to research from Amnesty International.
People in the UK are being advised against all but essential travel to Italy after the entire country was placed on lockdown to stop the spread of coronavirus.
The Italian Prime Minister has said the strict quarantine measures introduced in the north of the country were no longer sufficient. The illness has killed more than 460 people there, the largest number outside China. Here, the Foreign Office said people returning from Italy should self-isolate for 14 days. In the most drastic response yet to the spread of coronavirus, the Italian Prime Minister has announced restrictions on all movement across the country. More than 9,000 cases have been confirmed in Italy. The number of deaths now stands at 463. Across Europe, countries like France, Germany and Spain have also seen a surge in cases. In France, there's now a ban on all gatherings of more than 1,000 people, and in Madrid, all schools and universities have closed to control the spread. Here in the UK, almost 25,000 people have been tested and 5 have now died. The Chief Medical Advisor for England has warned that anyone showing even minor signs of respiratory tract infections will soon be told to isolate themselves for 7 days as part of the next steps to tackle the outbreak. Well, global shares took a real battering yesterday as worries about coronavirus and a sudden drop in oil prices hit markets worldwide. On Wall Street, US financial markets had their biggest one-day fall since the 2008 crisis. Worldwide, £125 billion was wiped off the value of leading companies, and